Okay, so I just want to do a very quick update at the end here because I looked at this afterwards and I thought, well, this looks really messy, really not like art at all, really. But that's intentional. I don't want you to go away and thinking, well, that's a great piece of art, because all I'm doing here is I just want to emphasize that we're just getting the composition, we're getting the shapes, we're getting some of the values worked out. And I'll give you an example of this. For example, we have a foreground, we have a middle ground, we have a background. So if you look at it like this, if we take our foreground, which is all this stuff here, okay, quite dark, and that's kind of establishing. We've got like these pillars here, which kind of prop up the sides of the image, and sort of box it in, stops the image from sort of tumbling off the side of the page, which is really nice. It's very classic, sort of almost cliched, sort of standard thing to do that. So that's quite cool, and because it's a forest, we can do that. The other thing we've got here is if we're looking into our scene here, our eyes can follow this, this S through the forest floor. And again, that's a typical sort of technique used by artists. Our midground is obviously the hut here, which is our focal point, and some of the trees over this side. Again, we're closing in on the image. We're coming in this way and we're coming in from that way. I mean, this tree here is quite dark at the moment, and we'll adjust that. So I'm not too fussed about the values at this stage. I'm just sort of laying it out and planning out where I'm going to put everything. And then we have our background, which is all this stuff here, which again is lighter and sits back in the image. So let me just get rid of that. So I'm not too fussed about what it looks like. This is all way too dark and ugly. The side of the hut here is way too dark and ugly, and my chimney pots just don't look right. I can see everything that's wrong with it. But what I have the benefit of, and and you'll learn this as you progress, is that I can see the end result. I'm looking at that and I know what it's going to look like. I can see the shafts of light that are going to come in here. Shafts of light going to come in through the forest, and the forest floor is all going to be speckly because we've got a big old space here, and we don't want that. That's going to be filled out, and it's a good opportunity to put shadows down and sprinkle, speckled light down there, and make it pop out a bit more. And this roof here, it's just a big old slab of grey. It's not that great, but we can put plants on it and make it look really interesting. There's lots to do with this image. I mean, it does look terrible, and probably a little bit worse than it did before we started this lecture. But just hang in there, go through the process. I am a bit of a messy artist. I like to scribble and paint and squidge down and just drop down shapes. Look at these shapes here. They're really cool because it looks like it's sort of pinning up the picture with this big sort of inside this big window. I quite like it. That's kind of what's sort of happening here. Then we've got this sort of shape down here in the as our focal point, which sort of sits. Remember, if we had our grid, this is sitting on one of our focal points. So it's starting to come together. I think it's going to work. But like I say, it's very messy. But I'm showing you everything, warts and all. At this time in my head, you shouldn't be thinking about how glorious it's going to look as an end result. We're just going through the planning stages, and I'm doing it quite slowly, deliberately, and I'm showing you, the bad and the good, the process. A lot of artists don't show you the bad sketches that they do, but I'm showing you everything. This is a long way from finished. Don't worry about it, and don't panic. It's under control. So, with all that said, I'll see you in the next lecture.